Again, let me remind you that my notes are all over the place. As things come in my head, I wrote them down about uh, this whole Philippine thing. I believe that it might be an answer to prayer. Because a lot of y'all watch my channel and you see me talk about things that I wish I could do and that I wish could happen in my life. And listening to this lovely young lady named Filipina Pea, I don't have to wait till I make a fortune. I don't have to wait till I leave Pittsburgh. I don't have to wait till my business is up and running. But I'm going to get a business up and running. That's the thing. And I want to now let me make some things very, very, very clear. Again, as a born again Christian, and I'm not trying to support the passport bros. I'm not into that. I'm into finding out that this girl that supports the passport bros, I support her. Because her channel is not based on the passport bros. Her channel is based on hers. Her channel came out before the passport bros blew up. Her channel's 3 years old. Okay? And she was doing this before she started making any money out of it. I watched that with Gio in the Philippines or something like that. She did an interview with him. I watched it last night. And I want to say this to her and to some of you men that are looking at these pictures of the Philippines and video footage of the Philippines and all this kind of stuff. I believe there's a blessing here in disguise for me, and it's not about sex. It's not about money. It's not about, I don't plan on moving to the Philippines. I don't plan on getting on some website and, taking all, trying to get all these young girls, trying to get the prettiest. No, I know that that's all going to slap me in the face. I'm not trying to do that. And I wouldn't do that even if I was R. Kelly. I wouldn't do that, okay? But I believe this is an answer to prayer. It's funny how I was praying and praying and praying, and then this came up, and the more and more I listen to this woman's videos, the more I see something here in the U.S. that I cannot achieve, and it's not just women. But I see a lot that I can't achieve there. I see a whole culture there that I can't achieve. A whole conservative world out there that I cannot achieve here in the U.S. But when I retire, I don't want to be stuck with the choice of Pittsburgh. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to be stuck with the choice of the inner cities and all the crap that's happening to America right now, especially with the inner cities and what they're doing to our police, what they're doing to the nuclear family. If you're going to be liberal, like she said, it's personal. Don't make other people be like you. Okay, now, I have a disagreement about this whole, and I watched this Gio in the Philippines yesterday. Most of the men that were hitting on her were white men that were way up in age, between the ages of 50 and 70. And you cannot tell me that, first of all, this is a white thing. White men taught us how to do this, to go and captivate young girls that are old enough to be our granddaughters and daughters. And you know what I'm saying? See, what women don't understand, and even Filipino women don't understand this, is that a man's sex life is his gold. It's his stash. It's the thing in his life that gives him pride. For a lot of men, you know. Now, to me, it's my marriage. Whether my marriage is to an 80-year-old woman or a 25-year-old woman, okay? It's my marriage that gives me pride. It's my romance with this woman, and us can't keep our hands off of each other. That gives me pride. It's not, oh, look what I got. You know, look what I'm bringing home from the Philippines. Look what I got in the Philippines. Look what I'm in the Philippines. You know, I'm going to walk right past all these young men, all these single young Philippine men, okay, with my white self, with this hot little thing that they can't touch because they don't, you know, they just as broke as she is, or broke her. You know, they got enough money to take care of her, but she rather have this old white man. I have a problem with that. I really do. I have a problem with that. Like, you know, now, there's a video that I watched before Gio in the Philippines, and he had Filipina Pea as his guest. Okay? There's a video I watched about a man, and he wasn't that old. He was only probably about 15 years older than her. Okay, I believe she was much older than she looked. But, you know, I mean, when I said, oh, here we go. And then when he got off the plane, and he had to go all the way into these suburbs that were like a ghetto. And there was no buses, no cars. They had to ride motorcycles and scooters to get in. They couldn't get in with regular cars. He went in there, it rained, it stormed, he got lost, he didn't know where to go to find this girl. And when he saw her in the distance, she jumped out of her seat, so excited to see him. I almost cried. And he said, you can see me from afar off, you know. And so he grabs her, and when she took him to see her family, they were at one ghetto in order to meet him. They were like on a terminal where people just get off the train or whatever. Then they had to get on these motorcycles with these rain coverings on them, you know, these little cars made out of motorcycles, and they had to ride them. And then they went into one town, they had to hitch a ride. Okay? See, I ain't gonna go through all that, but God bless this white man, okay? And they went in, and when he got to her house, this girl lived out in the jungle. Now that's a white man for you. Now this white man, he got to be like in his 40s, 50 at the most. She got to be like in her 30s or in her late 20s, okay? Please tell me she's at least in her late 20s, okay? She didn't mention her age, but I think he mentioned his. I think he was around 50, 40, late 40s or something. And he picks her up, and he went in the house. These people make their food on these broken wooden tables and these broken metal tables. It looked like an animal slaughter factory in there where they were eating and serving food. These people live very poor, okay? And they lived in this little hut, and there must have been 15 people or more all squeezed into that little hut. and everybody was glad to see him. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of money coming out of his pocket. But in his case, and in her case, you know, that's like a missionary going into Cuba or whatever. Like, you know, I know people, I got friends that do that, and go in there and pull somebody out of poverty. You ain't got to marry them, just pull them out of poverty. But a lot of these Cuban girls do the same thing. They get older white men. It's always a white man. Well, us black men, we can take the blame for that. Okay, because we never think about doing these kind of deeds. But, you know, in her case, yes, you need to marry an older white man, okay, that's going to put money not only into you and bring you to a better place, but take care of your family. Give your family a better place to live. Get your family out of the jungle. Heck yeah. I don't care if that white man was old enough to walk through that jungle at 70. He's worth a good, he's worth a good little tiny, she had to be this small, a little tiny Latina, a little tiny young Latina. All the money that he's going to invest in his family, he deserves a little tiny Latina. For that weather storm that he had to go through, and he's going around hitching a ride from people, okay, and they looking at him like, why would I want to ride you anywhere? You know, he was out in the ghetto going after this girl, out in the ghetto. People looked at him like, white man, what are you doing? You know. In his case, I understand, yes. This man could not have just been looking at her butt cheeks, or her tiny small breasts, or her gorgeous black hair, or her Asian features on her face, and putting himself through all that. He deeply loves her, or he just really, really cares about the Philippine people. And he wants to be the hero to take one out of that poverty-stricken environment. Okay? One family out of there, and then he gets to be the hero. And what did she pay him? He gets this cute little tiny little Philippine girl that's about the size of a child. Okay? She had to be 4-something. She's tiny. And I don't know if that was her older sister or younger sister went with them, but I heard Filipina Pea talk about that, where, you know, expect when you go on a first date with a Filipina for her to bring a friend or a sister along, and it's good. I encourage, as the minister, you know, of the Lord in the churches, we encourage our young, you know, girls from teenagers up to their 25 or so. We encourage them to do the same thing. Go in a group. He ain't got to pay for all y'all. Bring your own money, but go out in a group. I've done it before when I was in family training hour. You know, we went out in groups, and you know, if you know your parents are away and you're really into it with the girl next to you, you know, there's some kissing going on at McDonald's or whatever. You know, that's fine. And and it didn't go beyond that. You know, but in his case, yes, okay, but when I look at that video yesterday, it was yesterday, that I watched when you were with Gio in the Philippines, and all them men started asking you over and over again, you know, one after the other, and they showed a picture of what they look like. These some greasy old white men, okay, you know, look like they jerking off while they watching this video. I'm sorry, but God, like, when that many white men want to come to the Philippines and they want to date underage girls, and now see, in this guy's case that I just mentioned, He went through high water and hell to help this girl. He deserves a little tiny little Filipina chick, okay, to be his wife. Okay? But a lot of these guys that are watching YouTube videos, watching passport bro videos of these Filipino women and all like that, getting online and, you know, and they always pick it. You know, that's not love to me coming from him. That's not love to me. When you get online, you say, "Oh, you know what? I'll give love another chance because I get to marry this little virgin, little tiny Filipino chick and marry her and bring her back to the States as long as I pay for her family, or I can retire in the Philippines. I got nothing to lose, and I have this little Filipina chick, and if it don't work out, I get another Filipina chick." You know, I mean, you know, to me, I think these guys are perverts. You got hundreds of white men looking at websites and going to the Philippines just to be with a girl that's young enough to be his daughter. He's retired. He can't settle down with a woman his age. If you can still get it up, who's going to enjoy it more? A woman your age or this little tiny thing? And me, I personally feel that virgins belong with virgins. And then once you lose your virginity, like you did a video about that, and I watched that yesterday too, where, you know, it's okay to ask your partner how many boyfriends have you had? How many times have you I'm not going to just be another, booty call, But I believe virgins belong with virgins. Okay? Old men should be training young men and helping young men get enough business or whatever they need to go and marry these young girls. They did it in the Bible. You know what I mean? Remember Ruth in the Bible? Now, in that culture, she could marry anybody in his family. But he was fair. He went through everybody that was more, and he was way older than Ruth. Okay? And he was powerful. But he went to the less powerful and the younger and said, hey. And they would say, oh, I just got married, or hey, I just buried my father or whatever, and we're leaving Moab, we're going somewhere else or whatever. Okay? And Ruth ended up in his lap. And Ruth wanted to marry him because of his kindness to her, not because she was attracted to him. And he didn't go after Ruth because he was attracted to her. Clearly he was attracted to her, but he was willing to let a younger man marry her if he had the credentials, and let someone that was higher in power and lower in power than him, the next of kin, the right of kin, to marry this girl. He did not get all up in his flesh and say, oh, I got this. No. He went looking for the person that would be better for her. Okay? But yet, he ended up, and they, the story goes that as soon as they got married, like y'all Philippine women, she couldn't wait to have children by him, and, and they lived it happily ever after, and that's fine. And she was with not only a man that could afford what she needed, but he was in power and very protective over her. I mean, nobody will ever again touch her. Okay, and if you read it in different translations, it assumes that Ruth was in fear of being molested. Ruth was in fear, actually the word would be rape. or whatever, and here it is. He was the prince of the field, prince of these people. He said, I've commanded my men not to touch you. But yet, he went and searched for the right man to marry her. Okay? You can't sleep with her. You can't just let her stay at your house. You have to marry her. You have to be her redeemer, was the point. And that's what that whole situation was about, like Christ is our redeemer. Okay, and that's what that story represents. Okay? But I want to go through more of, I just don't believe in the age gap. I believe a lot of these men, maybe a lot of these young Filipino girls, are willing to do whatever they need to do. They don't care about how lousy the sex is. They don't care if they're even really, honestly, truly attracted to this man. And I don't think they are. I think women should feel it okay to be at least attracted to one or two things about their man that has something to do with sex. Now, if you really like pot bellies, if that really turns you on, that's fine. If you really like short men, that's fine. If you really like tall men, muscle men, that's fine. But there should be one or two things in a girl's attraction to a man that she can honestly look up at God and say, yes, I am attracted to him for these attributes. But you're not telling me that you're attracted to some guy that can barely walk. You're attracted to a guy that can barely get the words out of his mouth. Like one video I saw. Okay? And meanwhile, he's sitting there talking about y'all in Canada. He done took you out of the Philippines and took you up to Canada. I don't know what part of Canada this is, but men are grabbing on your wife while you're walking down the street. Shouldn't be walking down the street in your situation. This woman's going to get you killed. You're going to get mad at somebody trying to get fresh with your woman right in front of you one of these days, and the man's going to knock you out and put you in a coffin over some little tiny Philippine girl. And I don't think it really would be much different in the Philippines if you had kept her in her own country. But as the story goes, she genuinely loved him because he put her through college. He just did it. So her attitude was like, baby, I'm yours now. That was what she was attracted to. She wasn't attracted to him, I could tell. She was attracted to the fact that, and in her case, she wanted to get out of the Philippines, and maybe even her family wanted her to get out of the Philippines. But, all right, let me go through these notes one more. I got two plats here. Let me cover these up. I don't believe in... I believe that maybe 1 out of every 100 women really honestly are attracted to men that are old enough to be their dads or their granddads. And, they're unattracted to the sex and the amount of sex and the time consuming of sex and all that they would be having with a younger man. Maybe they're afraid of it or something, okay? But I believe that a woman has a right, and she should, have at least 1 or 2 things about her husband that she's attracted to that has nothing to do with his financial status or his security status. It's just him in the flesh. That's the way God made us. Now, men are more visual than women, but here in the West, women have a preference. Now, I know some preferences, like the whole thing where you got a girl this small, but you got to have a guy this tall. They got rules. Well, you can't, like, first they say, oh, well, you only need to be a head tall. I like a man that is a head taller than me. Well, sweetheart, I'm 2 heads taller than you. Oh, but no, because men tease you for being short. I have to have a man that's not going to be teased for being short. See, that's some West BS right there. Okay, I'm 2 heads taller than you. I'm too tall. Well, actually, I don't mind a woman that's a little bit taller than me, and I don't mind it's a woman that's straight ahead. But a lot of these liberal feminist women today, they done went from, oh well, short men make me feel small. I have to have a man that's a head above me. Okay, what about a man that's 2 heads above you? Oh, but he's not 5'5". He's still in the 5'3" range, so he don't count. Because no man is allowed to be 5'3". Who made them rules? You know. And I'm gonna tell you, I hope it's different over there. I'm hoping and expecting and believing God that it's different. Okay? You know, but even though I don't have a right because I'm so small, here in the West, ain't nobody picking me, okay, for marriage anyway. They're picking me for other things, but not for marriage, okay? All right, even though I have it like that, I still am not going to let any woman just come up to me and make me break any rules or make any promises just to be with her because she's so lovely and pretty. I never had nobody that pretty in the West. Okay, no. Okay, and if I get married, let's say I get married at 70, my wife will be an old woman. She might not be as old as me, but she's going to be an old woman. She might be old enough to be pretty and have a little sexiness to her, but she's going to be an old woman. She ain't going to be no kid, okay, that I have to have my kid's babysitter when I leave the house. What are you talking about? Oh God, that was too funny. Oh God. Oh God, that was too funny. Oh Lord. Oh man, that was perfect. No. I don't want, I can see my kids. Dad, what do we do? Dad, what do we do with her? What do you want her to wear today, Dad? You want me to put my little angel costume on her that you bought me when I was a baby, Dad? Come on, man. Come on, man, with going after these little tiny Filipino girls that ain't no bigger than their kids. They lift up the kids. The kid only comes up to their ankles. Wait, comes up to her knee. I'm sorry. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. Come on. She can't carry the kid. She need an older man. She need a 40-year-old man that's nice and tall, okay, to carry her kids for her. If he gonna go through a thunderstorm and carry her kids, and I think this girl had 2 kids. Most of the kids belonged to her sister, and some of them was her siblings, younger siblings, I guess. I think she was the oldest. They all look like kids. And then the one that looked like a midget, Jackie Chan, he was as small as her too. But he was built, he was, he was like, hey, yeah, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Yeah. But, I don't trust that whole age gap thing. You're making too much of a religion out of it. Okay? Yes, I do believe that maybe 1 out of 100 men and 1 out of 100 women really, well, I should say 1 out of 100 women really love men that are old enough, okay, you know, not to be able to make it to the bathroom, can't climb the hill, okay, they can't leave the house. I'm already at that place where, you know, every time I go up steps, every time I go up a slope, I gotta puff my inhaler, okay? But, you know, I ain't trying to marry some little tiny little, you know, super healthy little thing, young super healthy thing, and watch her, you know, go jogging, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the park watching her jog and she trip and fall. I got to, I'm coming, baby. You know, I got to, where's my walker? I got to find my way over there, and some young stud picking her off the ground, and I'm thinking, oh, that don't turn her on? You know what I mean? Why? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were her dad. No. What you mean? You thought I was your dad? That's my wife. Oh. Okay. Have a nice day. I was just trying to help. You know. That one video I watched, I mean, God bless that girl's heart. The man deserves her. But he was talking to her before he put her through college. Once he put her through college, she was like, I'm yours, baby. And when they asked him, I think they asked him in an interview, would you have still put her through college if she had chose not to marry you? You couldn't hear a pin drop. He got real quiet for a minute. Oh, he didn't put her through college for nothing. He had all along. Now, she was at it like, well, who else was going to put me through college? I understand her innocence. I really don't understand the old man's innocence. And why is it that, you know, older women, they just want the man to be able to, you know, for older women, a man can put on a ring or take Viagra. And most men I know that are married to older women don't want to take that Viagra, but they'll take it for a young girl, though. Okay, look. That is so rude. A lot of these older men will take Viagra for young girls and end up having a heart attack. Now she got your money. Now she got all your assets. All she had to do was sleep with you, okay? For the first time. Consummate your marriage and boom, you in a coffin. Okay? But wait a minute. If an old woman is willing to lay down with her husband, you know, and he, you know, he knows that but he can't get it up like he used to. Is that her fault? That's not her fault. I mean, if he's been married to her for so many years, and she can still spread her legs, but he can't get it up. Is that her fault? You're telling me that an old woman that can spread her legs is not sexy enough for a man to get it up? Okay. Whatever. I was going to read this card and this card and be done with this series, but I'm going to do one more because I really wanted to talk about this age gap, and this is going to go off the topic anyway. I'll do this in the next video and cut this one short, but God bless you. Look, if you're a Christian, pray about this kind of stuff, but I don't believe I don't believe for the life of myself. I don't believe, I can bet you 2 of my fingers that half these men and half these women, over half these women are not attracted to these men. These women are not attracted to these old men. These women only love these old men for what these old men can do for them, and they're willing to sacrifice their sex life, okay, and they're willing to sacrifice their childhood, basically, for this old fart. Now, don't get me wrong. Some men, you know what I mean, like these missionaries, they deserve to bring a lovely, you know, Latina or a lovely Filipina back here with them for the stuff that they do for God in these foreign countries, free of charge, taking money out of their own pocket and delivering these people. Okay, they deserve to come back here with a prize. Hey, Mom, look what I got. Okay, but on a social level, on a retirement level, I think a lot of these men are just being perverts, and I think a lot of these women are just being naive, and they don't realize that they're going to be laying up in bed at times watching TV and saying, damn, there's going to be times when they got to watch TV and touch themselves, and a lot of y'all think that's okay, and touch themselves before he climbs into bed. Then they'll be willing to do something with them, or let him try to get one off when he ain't going to get one off, you know. I don't agree with that big gap thing. I want the woman that is with me, I don't care if I'm 90, 100 years old. I need to know that she's not only with me because I can provide for her better than my son can provide for her. I need to know that she's attracted to me. She wants me because she wants me. It ain't got nothing to do with my money. It ain't got nothing to do with security. It's me. I want to be loved for who I am. My son can have, you know, a great sex appeal in his young age, plus security, plus money. Hey, I'd like to introduce you to my son. He's looking for a wife. Now, my son actually has a wife. And his wife loves him. She's a white woman. She loves him like these Filipino women, you know, you brag about it. She loves her husband like Philippine women love theirs, okay? She loves her husband. She loves my stepson. My stepson will never trade her for a Philippine woman. She ain't no Western woman. She old-fashioned white, okay? She come from the Bible Belt. Well, her mom, her grandmother and them come from the Bible Belt. Her grandmother raised her mom right, even though her mom went through hell and high water and back, and the demons, you know, and did some things she shouldn't be doing, okay? But I am D-Roy Cruz. I am your life applications officer. More to come. The next one will probably be the last one. Less rattling off and just reading my notes. God bless you. Thank you for watching. See you soon with more.